Welcome. My name is Elise Stradabush, and today's therapy tip is my #1 marital therapy goal. When couples come in to see me, they're often angry, hurt, scared. They often feel betrayed or disappointed by their partner and uncertain of their future. As a rule, both partners are terrified to be in my office, and I completely understand that. Individual therapy is scary enough, but you can control what is revealed and discussed. With couples therapy, the person who knows you best, good and bad, is sitting next to you, often eager to share their side of how things are, so that the focus can be off of them and onto you. And the fact is, we do know all about our partner's vulnerabilities, flaws. We're in the perfect vantage point for that. But, and this is the important point, that gets us nowhere. We can be 100% right about their flaws and what they're doing wrong that's not helpful, and 100% powerless to change that. All that we have control over is our own behavior. But the thing is, that's enough. Couples interactions are often compared to being a dance. If you and your partner are dancing the tango and hating it, it only takes one of you to stop dancing those steps. If you start waltzing, then you guys are no longer doing the tango. But if you're stubbornly refusing to stop dancing the tango because you want your partner to stop dancing the tango first, not only are you giving away your power, but you're still dancing the tango. So my first priority in marital therapy, and the most important thing, is to shift people's focus away from their partner and back onto themselves. An excellent therapist and longtime friend of mine, Linda Bucksbaum, shares that she often encourages couples to imagine that a documentary is being filmed and a videographer is following them around, documenting everything that they say. This can give a little bit of perspective, and you're able to observe your interactions and your partners and the patterns between you more easily. Frequently, clients are embarrassed by the content of the arguments that they describe when they're in session. They'll say, "I know this is really trivial. I have no idea why we ended up in a fight about it." And the fact is, it is really trivial. It's not what's important at all. But there's a conversation under that conversation that is important. There's always an observable conversation about whatever content it is, and then there's the emotional conversation underneath. The observable conversation might be something along the lines of, "He's always late," and then he may respond, "She's so controlling." But the emotional conversation may be, "He's always late because I'm not important to him," and his emotional response may be, "She's so controlling, and I need to have freedom." When we stay focused on the observable content, we can spin our wheels. But when we drop down into the emotional conversation, then we have the opportunity to really be known and know our partner. Another thing to understand is that these emotional conversations are ongoing. There's no real beginning and end to them. In my example, she feels that his lateness is because he's not important to her, and she may be feeling sadness, anger, fear of abandonment, hurt. But she's not sharing those feelings. She's complaining and nagging, and so she's not receiving any tenderness or compassion. She's just receiving his irritability and frustration. And in the face of that, just feels even more unimportant. And on his side, as she complains, he feels more and more controlled and trapped, and also isn't sharing those more vulnerable feelings, and is getting more and more nagging and complaining. Often I'll make a little diagram for clients. I created a really simple one. Here you go. We can start here. We can start anywhere in it. That's the point of these. So she complains, and then he's thinking, "I'm being controlled." He may feel trapped. He may feel afraid. Then out of that, he's going to act out. Usually there's kind of passive aggressive acting out with something like lateness. So then he's late, and then she feels, I'm not important. She's angry, she's hurt, she's afraid, and she complains. At any point, either of them can interrupt this by doing something different. She could choose not to complain. She could handle it differently. She could choose a different thought about his behavior, which then will lead to a different feeling. He, on the other hand, of course, could change his behavior as well, and also change his thought and behavior and emotion. Once my clients have gotten curious about their patterns and their part in the patterns, then progress can really occur. The important questions everyone must ask themselves is, who do I want to be in this relationship? What do I want to be thinking? What kind of feelings do I want to be having? What do I want my behaviors to look like? Essentially, what kind of person do I want to be in the world? There's often some confusion around this, and people feel that their behavior and their thoughts and feelings are correlated to how other people are feeling, thinking, and behaving. And we really have to pull that apart. Who we are in the world, what we decide to think, feel, and behave, has to be our own personal decision about who we want to be. Really, it doesn't matter, even those closest to us, what their choices are. When we can do that, we really retain our power and then can start to have truly satisfying relationships as well as just a more meaningful life overall. If you're dissatisfied with or just curious about your relationship dynamics, imagine that you have a videographer following you around for a week. Just observe and pay attention, be curious about what you do, what your partner does, how you guys are interacting, whether it's working or not. And if it isn't, experiment with making small changes, either in your thinking, your feeling, that will lead to change in your behavior, and see what happens. Generally, not only do our relationships improve, but how we understand ourselves and our place in the world changes and improves. So, thanks for joining me today, and I wish you a lovely day.